Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico was shot multiple times and gravely wounded after a political event in an attempted assassination that shocked the small country and reverberated across Europe. Local JOJ television reported that a man in the crowd opened fire at the Prime Minister when he came out of the building to greet the residents of the city. The 59-year-old politician was reported to be fighting for his life after being hit in the stomach. At least 4 shots were fired outside a cultural centre in the town of Handlova, nearly 140 kilometres northeast of the capital, where Fico was meeting supporters, the government said. A message posted to Fico's Facebook account said he was taken to hospital in Banska Bystrica, 29 kilometres from Handlova, because it would take too long to get to the capital Bratislava. A suspect was in custody, the country's president said in a televised statement. Fico was taken by helicopter to hospital. The motive for the shooting was unclear. Fico has long been a divisive figure in Slovakia and beyond, but his return to power last year on a pro-Russian, anti-American message led to even greater worries among fellow European Union members that he would lead his country further from the Western mainstream. Thousands have repeatedly rallied in the capital and across Slovakia to protest against Fico's policies. The attack comes as political campaigning heats up 3 weeks ahead of the Europe-wide elections to choose lawmakers to the European Parliament. Concern is mounting that populists and nationalists similar to Fico could make gains in the 27-member bloc. Fico, a third-time premier, and his leftist Smer or Direction party won Slovakia's 30th September parliamentary elections, but politics as usual were put aside as the nation faced the shock of the attempt on Fico's life. As the news broke, the main opposition parties, Progressive Slovakia and Freedom and Solidarity, cancelled a planned protest against a controversial government plan to overhaul public broadcasting, which they say would give the government full control of public radio and television. Slovakia's President Zuzana Kaputova condemned the attack in the strongest possible terms and wished the Prime Minister an early recovery. The President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, announced, "I am shocked by the assassination attempt on Prime Minister Robert Fico. The cruelty of this attack is unimaginable. My thoughts and prayers are with Robert Fico, his family and the people of Slovakia." Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk wrote on social media, "Shocking news from Slovakia. Robert, my thoughts are with you at this very difficult moment." Condemning the attack, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said on X, "Such acts of violence have no place in our society and undermine democracy, our most precious common good. My thoughts are with PM Fico and his family." Expressing shock over the incident, European Council President Charles Michel said, "Nothing can ever justify violence or such attacks." Similarly, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said on X, "Shocked to hear this awful news. All our thoughts are with Prime Minister Fico and his family." German Chancellor Olaf Scholz also said, "I am deeply shocked by the news of a cowardly assassination attempt on Slovakian Prime Minister Fico. Violence must have no place in European politics. In these hours, my thoughts are with Robert Fico, his family, and the citizens of Slovakia." Expressing shock over the cowardly attack, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni wrote on X, "Also on behalf of the Italian government, I wish to express the strongest condemnation of any form of violence and attack on the cardinal principles of democracy and freedom." Both Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte and Romanian President Klaus Iohannis condemned the attack with posts on X. Iohannis wrote, "Appalled to learn about the shooting of the Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico. I wish him a full and speedy recovery. I strongly condemn such extremist acts which threaten our core European values." Rutte said, "Shocked by the shooting of my longtime colleague Prime Minister Robert Fico of Slovakia. I wish him much strength. My thoughts are with him and his family." Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said, "I was deeply shocked by the heinous attack against my friend Prime Minister Robert Fico. We pray for his health and quick recovery. God bless him and his country." Poland is still one of the top locations for foreign direct investment. However, the rise of energy prices and doubts regarding the country's economic policy are encouraging international investors to move away from Poland to Romania, Bulgaria, or China. More places are added to this map, showing a list of layoffs and business closures in Poland. Apart from Poczta Polska, there are large car, tyre factories, clothing and furniture companies. All of them are either reducing employment or moving abroad, where production is much cheaper. And Poles are losing their jobs. Now another 400 redundancies at ABB, where the company itself is fleeing to China. A real drama took place in Aleksandrów-Łódzki. When the decision to liquidate was announced, an ambulance was called. Approximately 60% of the big infrastructure projects, such as the central airport or nuclear power plants, were to be delivered by Polish businessmen. Now, when the government announces departure from these projects, the capital and assets reserved for it must be spent elsewhere. What is this related to? Businessmen know that it is by being liquidated, so they will not keep employees, resources and assets on standby. This is the direct cause. ABB, based in Zurich, is a manufacturer of low-voltage electric motors, which are very important for the Polish economy. Manufacturers of parts and components dedicated to electric vehicles are becoming very important. According to Paulina Hennig-Kloska, Minister of Culture and Environment, companies are fleeing Poland to low-emission countries. Companies flee from Poland due to high emissions in our economy, and they want to move into clean energy. This is not true. ABB is moving its production to China. The reason? Officially, it is the changing market dynamics and geopolitical situation. Unofficially, too high production costs and horrendous electricity prices in Poland. The closure of this plant is a very bad signal that high energy prices are causing this industry to withdraw from the country. This is just another indication of energy prices that are unaffordable for the industry. And the reason for high prices is energy regulation, both European Union and Polish. We have a tragic situation in Europe and more broadly in the United States as well, compared to China, to where this production was moved. The cost of energy compared to the rest of the world is rising dramatically. This is incomparably, you could say, twice the price.
Energii w porównaniu z tą resztą świata drastycznie rośnie.
And that is why many companies in Poland are laying employees off. There are also reports of record termination notices among Poczta Polska employees. Up to 10,000 people will lose their jobs. We will have to work more for this miserable, unworthy money. The atmosphere is terrible. Employees are demanding radical action, and such action will be carried out. Postal workers have announced protests. Tomorrow there is a warning strike. Work stops between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. In addition, a picket will be held in front of the main post office building in Warsaw. Tension is growing on the border with Belarus. Almost every day, several hundred illegal immigrants try to enter Poland. At the same time, the Council of the European Union finally adopted the Migration Pact. In both cases, Donald Tusk reassures voters that illegal immigrants will not be allowed into Poland. But is that true? Is it part of the campaign before the European parliamentary elections? Konrad Wąż is checking. Illegal immigrants tried to cross the border with Belarus 365 times. These people tried to cross the border of our country. The Polish services did not allow the attempt to illegally cross the border, and here they did not allow these people to enter Poland. Migration pressure has continued here since 2021. According to NATO, this is an element of Russia's hybrid war against Europe and Poland. This is simply about making Poles concerned that the very fact of immigrants appearing and less willing to provide help to those who are actually fleeing from war and possible persecution from the Russian side. Even Prime Minister Donald Tusk admits that the worst-case scenario that the United Right government warned about is confirmed. These are not refugees, these are not families looking for help. In 80 cases out of 100, we are dealing with organised groups of young men aged 18 to 30, this age category, who are very aggressive. This is what he says today about people attacking the Polish border. But before the elections, he said this. These are poor people who are looking for their place on earth, and there is no need to make such disgusting, gloomy propaganda against migrants, because these are people who need help. And he played on Poles' emotions. Now, as Prime Minister Tusk also announced strengthening the barrier on the border, the same one that, in his opinion, was not supposed to be created at all. There was also a question about the wall. I never said that this wall would not be built. This is precisely what he did say. The wall will not be built in a year, in 3 or in 5 years. You will not see this wall. No one will see this wall. That's the problem. The problem is rather uncontrolled mass immigration supported by Donald Tusk's political circle in the European Parliament. According to the Migration Pact approved yesterday by the Council of the European Union, each EU country, including Poland, will have to accept illegal immigrants or pay for their maintenance, euro 22,000 each. Poland will be a beneficiary of the Migration Pact. Tusk says, although just in case he has that although he's in favour of the pact, at the same time he is also against it. The Polish government voted against the Immigration Pact. The Migration Pact adopted in its current form gives Poland the opportunity to avoid any negative consequences of the Migration Pact. Without consequences, really? This will inevitably have consequences. This is how Tusk scared Poland when he was President of the European Council. And then the government of the United Right refused to accept the first wave of illegal immigrants. However, we accepted millions of real refugees from Ukraine. The truth is that the number of immigrants sent and ordered to be relocated will depend on the size of the country, GDP and absorption capacity, i.e. someone who has accepted many and efficiently will receive even more additional ones.
tym bardziej dostanie dodatkowych.
After all, the European Parliament elections are approaching, and the Liberal left knows that by telling the truth about its plans, it may lose the support of even its own supporters and power in Europe. Elections to the European Parliament are on the 9th of June. After that, voter support may no longer be as important. Konrad Wąż, Telewizja Republika. Poland imports 1/3 of its natural gas from Qatar. Polish President Andrzej Duda was talking about energy and defence in the Persian Gulf. President Andrzej Duda met the head of the Qatari Investment Fund. It is one of the world's largest financial institutions. The Polish politician encouraged Qataris to increase their investments in Poland. We expect representatives of the fund to visit Poland soon. We also talked to representatives of an energy company from the United Arab Emirates that implements green technology projects in Poland. In July, the Emir of Qatar will come to Poland for an official state visit at the highest level.